What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with a brand new deck profile of my King of the Skull Servants for the 1st October ban list. So without further ado, we'll go straight into it. If anyone knows me at all, they'll know that King of Skull Servants is one of my favourite decks since I was a kid. And I just love that it got support in the previous set. So, to start it off, King of the Skull Servants. As it says, he is your king. You play 3 of him because you want to see him as quickly as possible to punch people in the face. Then we have 3 Whitemare. Whitemare is just amazing because it just helps the deck so much. Being able to just discard it to add another Skull Servant from your Banish Zone to the graveyard, giving your King of Skull Servant an instant 2k boost. Or, being able to get a Lady of White onto the field is just so good because you get the support of Lady of the White with the effect, and you also get 1000 boost because this is now in the grave. So it's a great all-round card for the deck. Speaking of which, we have 3 Lady in the White. Just needed. This and King of the Skull Servant equals bad news for your opponent. Being able to just be unaffected by spells and traps is just brutal. So you're pretty much guaranteed to have your punches go through. So King of the Skull Servant can just rain down on your opponent with no fear. Then one of the new cards, 2 Right Prints. You play 2 and 2 of this, the same ratio as you play as a Skull Servant, because there's no point playing one more of the other, because then it would just lead to inconsistencies. I feel you only need 2 of these, because if you up it to 3, it means you have to play 3 Skull Servant, and that means you have 6 cards in the deck that have to interact with each other, more so than others. So that's why I run 2, and it's actually worked out really well. Speak of the devil, the most broken card in the game. Skull Servant! He's just there to add up the numbers for the deck, you know, because it makes sense. 2 Mizuki. A lot of people were a bit surprised in my previous one that I wasn't running more of a level 4 base zombie engine, but I just don't see the need in this particular build. I'm not going for a rank 4 engine particularly. I know the zombies are good, so you don't need to tell me that, but I just don't really like running them in this version because I have no space really, which you'll see later. But yeah, so the 2 Mizuki are kind of standard because obviously you're playing zombies, and the 2 Zombie Master are also standard in my opinion because the fact you can ditch and then add, it just works both ways. So I played those 2 definitely. Then we have the 3 Mathematician. That kind of selective milling is what's needed in my opinion. Having Curry Bandits or anything like that, I just never like doing it because I feel that I'll always just mill awful, and I always do. So having a Mathematician just to go straight to the Right Prints and then kick off combos is much better in my opinion. And then we have the 1 Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon's really easy to get out in this deck simply because, you know, you control the graveyard. Having Mathematician in this is just so brutal because obviously you can summon Dark Arm Dragon straight away after you've summoned Mathematician, ditch White Prince, and then White Prince is effective ditch another 2. So yeah, the card is really strong in the deck and really turns games around if you need it. Going into spells, we have 3 Pot of Duality. This is a very, very, very budget-based main deck, so that's why I've got different rarities. One of them Starfall somewhere. Pot of Duality, you don't special summon really, so it kind of makes sense, helps with the consistency of the deck. Book of Life, bringing back monsters is always nice, but even nicer is banishing your opponent's cards, so really, really strong card. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, we don't want any annoying back row in our way, so having 2 MST main is kind of a must in my opinion. The 1 Soul Charge, just to bring anything back that we need. The 1 Raigeki to clear my opponent's board if I want to try and attack for game. The 1 Foolish Burial, because, you know, just makes sense. The 1 Dragon's Mirror, because I do play Nether Soul, which you'll see later. Great card. The 1 Allure of Darkness, basically everything's dark, you know, makes sense. The 1 Burial from Different Dimension. With Right Prince, you can activate Right Prince's effect, special summon a King of Skull Servants on 0, then activate this and it goes back up to 3k. So that just works, you know, that's one example. And then 1 for 1, you know, get rid of that Skull Servant in your hand that's dead to bring out a King of the Skull Servant, so on and so forth. Going on to the traps, we have 3 Fiendish Chain. I don't want anything to happen to my monsters. I have protection with the Lady in the White from spells and traps, but monster effects I'm quite vulnerable to. So having Fiendish Chain to stop them doing anything is nice. Having it at 3 is kind of needed, in my opinion, in this version, and it's worked out really well. And then the final two are 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Reason for running this is I can discard things, I don't mind that at all, I can get my effects off, but putting stuff back on top of my opponent's deck is just very, very useful right now. One of the best trap cards in the game, Bar Vanities, and I just really enjoy it. I really like it, and it fits nicely into the deck. Going on to the extra deck, we have 1 Nether Soul. This card is just so good. Like, I know that he obviously doesn't kill the monster, but he sets it to 0 and then summons a token, and he's just so good. He's the 3k beta, so yeah, the card's really good. So the rank 4s, we have the 1 Exiton Knight. I play 5, I think. The 1 Larval Chain, the 1 101, the 1 Castel, and then finally the 1 Abyss Dweller. So they're just kind of standard rank 4s that you need in your extra deck. Then going to level 3, so you have 1 Fortune Tune, the 1 Leviathan Dragon, and the 1 Zen Mains. Just, again, very standard things. Then going into level 1s, we have the 1 Lionheart. We don't really go into these very often, but they're there if we need them. The 1 Embodiment of Punishment, and then Crime, because they go nicely together. You know, we can Soul Charge if we want for 4 and make these. It's a bit extreme, but, you know, whatever. The 1 Duelan, the 1 Utopia Roots, and finally the 1 Slacker Magician. So, that is the deck profile, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck, really, really cheap. Even the extra deck is kind of really, really cheap, to be honest. This is, like, really not expensive. These you can pick up now for not too much, but the main ones are all these here that are just worth nothing. That's why I've got them in all low rarity. So if you want a little bit of a fun deck that can actually stand up to some competitive decks, feel free to pick this up. The amount of times I've crushed Shadows and Stellar Knights is just really, really amusing, especially Quilloffs as well, because they summon Killer on me and I was like, okay, I'll just summon King of the Skull Servants and punch you very, very, very hard. So, that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy deck profile, as I said. Let me know down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.